human. Give it to me again. In my mouth.
Jake blinked. He'd just squirted a bit of whipped cream onto Princess Thara's extended tongue, and now she was looking at him like he'd just pledged his undying love. The 7-foot-tall alien woman's golden eyes gleamed, her iridescent blue skin glowing ever so slightly as she licked the remaining traces from her lips. This was a problem. Thara wasn't just any alien. She was royalty, an honored guest on the luxury pleasure cruiser Starbound Ecstasy, and an extremely powerful political figure. The ship's captain had made it very clear: keep her happy, or humanity might find itself negotiating peace terms with a fleet of pissed-off warships. Jake cleared his throat.
Yeah, sure.
He pressed the nozzle, and a fresh swirl of whipped cream landed on her tongue. She closed her lips around it, moaned, and shuddered violently. Oh, this was bad. Thara opened her eyes slowly, breathless.
By the stars, you have given me your sacred nectar. A ritual of trust and passion.
Jake froze.
What now?
The guards stationed outside the door gasped. One of them, a 6-armed brute in ceremonial armor, immediately bowed so low his forehead hit the floor. The others followed. The ship's eye chimed cheerfully.
Attention! The honored Princess Thara has been claimed by a human. Initializing bonding protocol. Congratulations, Lord Jake.
Jake stared at the flashing screen in horror.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! No bonding protocols. I was just...
Thara suddenly lunged, grabbing his wrist with surprising strength.
You do not deny it, do you?
Jake looked around wildly.
I don't even know what I'm not denying.
The princess took a deep, shuddering breath.
The sacred ritual of giving one's essence into the mouth of another is the highest sign of trust on my world. You have marked me as yours, human.
Jake's brain screeched to a halt.
You think...
He choked on a laugh.
You think whipped cream is some kind of sacred human mating ritual?
Thara's expression turned deadly serious.
Is it not?
Jake opened his mouth, then closed it. The guards were still bowing. A crowd had started to form outside the room. The captain, an exhausted-looking reptilian alien, had his face buried in his hands. Thara cupped Jake's face, tilting it toward her. Her touch was unexpectedly warm, her thumb grazing his cheek.
You have given yourself to me, and in return, I shall devote myself to you.
Her lips curled into a sultry smirk.
Tonight, we shall bond properly, and you shall give it to me again, and again.
Jake heard the phrase leave her lips, and promptly died inside. Jake's survival instincts kicked in. He needed to fix this. Fast.
Princess, listen, I think there's been a misunderstanding,
he said, carefully prying her fingers from his face.
This isn't some sacred ritual. This is just food. A dessert. People eat it for fun. No commitment required.
Thara tilted her head, her ridged brow furrowing.
Fun? Yes. Fun. Like entertainment. You know, something you enjoy but doesn't mean anything permanent.
Her golden eyes narrowed suspiciously.
So, this whipped cream is meant to bring pleasure without consequence? That's...
Jake hesitated. That was technically true. He grimaced.
Yeah, pretty much.
Thara grinned slowly, her sharp canines glinting under the overhead lights.
Ah, so it is an aphrodisiac.
Jake choked on his own spit.
No. No, it's not. It's just sugar and dairy. It's not.
She leaned in, her towering figure looming over him.
You say this, yet I feel strange. My body tingles. My temperature rises. My mind fixates on the sensation of your gift upon my tongue.
Jake forced himself to breathe.
That's probably just a sugar rush.
Thara hummed, clearly not convinced.
Then you will give me more.
She lifted a single, elegant finger and tapped her lips. Jake hesitated.
You sure? I must be certain of its effects.
He sighed and dispensed another dollop. She moaned again, loudly. Somewhere in the background, a crew member whimpered. Jake was about to die from second-hand embarrassment. Stara licked her lips slowly.
Yes, there is no doubt now,
She exhaled, visibly shaking.
This dessert is an arousal enhancer.
Jake stared at her.
What the hell kind of conclusions are you jumping to?
She ignored him.
This explains much about human culture.
She turned toward the gathered crowd.
You all consume this regularly? In front of each other?
The silence was deafening. One of the guards coughed.
Well, some humans put it on.
Jake elbowed him hard.
Don't finish that sentence.
Stara's expression darkened.
I see. This is a human bonding practice that is not spoken of openly.
She leaned down again, her voice dropping to a sensual purr.
But now that I have tasted your essence, I must have it from the source.
Jake's brain short-circuited.
Wait, the source.
She traced a single clawed finger down his chest, smirking at the way he tensed.
Do not be shy. You have already claimed me.
He could feel the eyes of every single person on the ship burning into him. The captain finally stepped forward, rubbing his temples.
For the love of all things holy, human, fix this before she declares a galactic marriage.
Jake groaned.
I'm trying.
Stara smirked wider.
I will await you in my chambers tonight. I expect you to arrive promptly with your whipped cream.
Jake was so dead. Jake paced furiously in his tiny crew quarters, gripping a can of whipped cream like it was a live grenade.
This is bad. This is so bad.
The ship's AI chimed unhelpfully.
Correction. This is a diplomatic crisis of interstellar proportions.
Jake groaned.
Not helping. HAL 9000.
He wasn't an ambassador, a soldier, or a negotiator. He was a damn chef. His biggest problems before today involved running out of fresh produce, not accidentally proposing to an alien princess with dessert. The door slid open. Jake turned, expecting a crew member, but it was Thara. She stepped inside, moving with predatory grace, the low light casting a shimmer over her smooth, blue skin.
I could not wait until tonight,
she purred.
The anticipation was unbearable.
Jake swallowed hard.
Princess, I really think we need to.
Thara held up a hand.
No more delays, human.
She took a deliberate step forward.
Give it to me.
Jake froze. His survival instinct screamed at him to clarify immediately, but she was already opening her mouth, waiting expectantly. He hesitated, then reluctantly lifted the can and squeezed. A generous dollop landed on her tongue. She moaned again. Jake twitched. This woman was going to get him executed. Thara shuddered violently.
It is more potent when taken directly from you.
Jake wanted to bash his head against the nearest solid surface. Why was every word out of her mouth a double entendre? Thara licked her lips slowly.
Human, you must explain something to me.
Jake braced himself.
Sure?
She narrowed her eyes, stepping closer.
Is your essence exclusive?
Jake blinked.
My what? This?
She gestured at the whipped cream can.
Would you share it freely with others?
Jake exhaled.
Yes. Because it's not.
Thara's expression darkened.
You would give this to another.
Jake hesitated. Her eyes flashed dangerously. The AI beeped nervously. Warning, scorned alien royalty detected. Recommended action, grovel immediately. Thara's tail flicked.
I see. You have no sense of loyalty.
Jake had never been accused of being a whipped cream slut before, but here he was.
Princess,
he tried.
This isn't an exclusive thing. I promise it's just. You would say the same to them, would you not?
She folded her arms.
What about the others on this vessel? The ones you have fed?
Jake almost choked.
What? No, it's not like that.
Thara scoffed.
So humans distribute their essence freely and expect no consequences? How reckless!
Jake pressed his fingers to his temple.
I cannot stress this enough. It's just dessert.
She tapped her chin thoughtfully.
Then prove it.
Jake hesitated.
What?
She grinned wickedly.
If this whipped cream is meaningless, then let us test it. We shall consume it together. At once. Mouth to mouth.
Jake forgot how to breathe.
Excuse me?
Thara leaned in.
If it is truly nothing, then this should not affect you. Correct?
Jake's brain short-circuited. He was so unbelievably screwed. Jake was out of options. He could either keep arguing with a stubborn alien princess, or he could prove whipped cream wasn't some cosmic love-binding agent. The problem? Thara wasn't backing down.
Do you hesitate because you fear the truth?
She taunted, her golden eyes gleaming.
Or do you fear that your own dessert is more powerful than you claim?
Jake exhaled slowly.
I hesitate because this is the dumbest conversation I've ever had.
Thara tilted her head.
And yet, here you are. Cornered. Flustered.
She stepped even closer, voice dropping to a whisper.
Tempted.
Jake had to clench his jaw to keep from saying something that would definitely start an intergalactic incident. The eye beeped.
Warning, heart rate elevated. Internal conflict detected. Probability of surrender, 87%.
Jake ignored it.
Fine,
he muttered.
You want proof? Let's do this.
Thara's smirk widened.
Ah, finally.
Jake shook the can, tilted it over his own tongue, and let a generous amount land in his mouth. Then, before he could think too hard, he grabbed her by the waist and pulled her down. Thara's eyes widened in surprise. He kissed her. The whipped cream melted between them, sweet and sticky. Her lips were soft, warm, dangerously inviting. Her sharp claws pressed into his shoulders, but she didn't pull away. If anything, she leaned into it. For a second, just 1 second, Jake forgot why this was a bad idea. Then reality slammed back into him like a cargo freighter. He broke the kiss, panting.
There. See? Just food. No magic. No bonding. Just dessert.
Thara was silent. Too silent. Jake's stomach dropped.
Princess?
Thara's eyes burned with intensity.
Human,
she murmured, her voice dangerously husky.
I have changed my mind.
Jake tensed.
About.
She traced a single finger down his chest, her touch sending a shiver through him.
I no longer believe this to be a simple pleasure food.
Jake blinked.
You?
She grinned. A slow, predatory grin.
No. I now understand.
She leaned in, her breath hot against his ear.
It is a weapon.
Jake almost choked.
What?
Thara purred.
Designed for seduction. Carefully crafted to lower defenses. A tool of human conquest.
Jake was having an out-of-body experience.
No. It's literally just dairy and sugar.
She ran a clawed finger down his throat.
I have underestimated you, human.
She exhaled, visibly flustered.
You wield this power well.
Jake whimpered. The ship's intercom crackled.
Jake, report to the bridge. Immediately.
Jake had never been so relieved to hear the captain's voice. He sprinted out of his quarters, ignoring the ways Thara watched him go, like a predator letting its prey think it had escaped. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot.